Hello, welcome back to more 428 Shibuya Scramble, where last time we did some shit. We progressed further in this time block, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m., 12 p.m. rather, and we saw two new characters, Tama and Osawa, and so let's check out this Minorikawa guy. He seems rather flashy. Could be a private eye, but he could be a fashion guy. Let's go. Or something else entirely. The Super Cub 80 raced down Route 246 towards Shibuya. Starting on your man. Super Club 90. A motorcycle produced by Honda with an 85cc engine displacement. A common sight around town, often used by newspaper and postal delivery workers. Many owners are big enthusiasts, sometimes even swapping out parts such as the handlebars or mufflers and giving the body a repaint, resulting in fashionable bikes that don't even look like Super Cubs at first glance. The sky looks insane. The speedometer remained at a steady 60 kilometers per hour. Pumping the gas harder was no use. This was as fast as the bike would go. Minorikawa, shouted as he sped along. Damn it! I am not letting you die! He jerked the handlebars and blew past a truck on the inside. The driver scowled at him as he shot by. You maniac! You're trying to get yourself killed? Just the opposite, Minorikawa shouted back. I'm saving lives! The stoplight ahead turned red, cutting him off at the intersection. Oh, come on. He had no choice but to slam on the brakes. But his agitation boiled over as he waited for the signal to change again. How long's this thing gonna stay red? Hurry up already! He brought the bike right up to the very edge of the line, keeping the engine revved like a dragster ready to peel out. Not on time is not in my dictionary. The light turned red. Then Minorikawa's own light turned green at last. He hit the accelerator as hard as he could. His engine died with a sputter. Huh? Oh, come on! What the hell? Car horns blared angrily behind him. In a fury, he pulled his bike over to the side of the road. Unfortunate. You hate to see it. No matter what he did, the engine refused to turn over. This is what we in the business call karma. Even though he's like driving a motorcycle and not a car. Was the problem with the spark plug or maybe the battery? Whatever it was, he didn't have the time to figure it out now. With tears in his eyes, he left the bike, his companion of 10 years, abandoned on the roadside. He was about to break into a run when he saw a taxi dead ahead letting out a passenger. He hurried to hop into the cab. Just head for Shibuya Station. I'll let you know exactly where once we get closer. The taxi driver nodded coolly. Of course, sir. 10 minutes! I need you to get me there in 10 minutes. The driver grimaced. I'm afraid getting there in 10 minutes is a bit. 15 then. Sir, that's still... Look, that's all the time I can afford. Assuming the traffic conditions cooperate, sir, then maybe. I can't make any promises. Minorikawa looked at the driver's ID photo above the face meter. Fare meter. Not face meter, fare meter. The face meter. His name was Hachiro Kimizuka. He was a middle-aged fellow, looked a little rough around the edges. Mr. Kimizuka, I chose you for this. You can do it. Chose me? Sir, I'm pretty certain we met by chance. Okay, sure. I suppose you could phrase it that way. Anyhow, can we get going? Right, Kimizuka said with a faint sigh. I'll see what I can do. The taxi pulled away at a decent clip. Minorikawa's frantic journey had started 20 minutes earlier. He'd been at home working on an interview piece. Oh, he's a journalist. He clucked his tongue in annoyance at the ringing phone as the ringing phone broke his train of thought. Why did someone always call right when the words were flowing? If he didn't keep getting interrupted, he could probably wrap this piece up in no time. Be quiet! He pointed at the telephone as he yelled. I'm writing here! But his shouting did nothing to silence the ringing. He didn't have much choice but to pick up. Minorikawa speaking. There was no response. Hello? He hesitated, ready to hang up. Was this a prank call? It's me. It's Toyama. It was Teruo Toyama, the president of Heaven Publishing. A publishing company that puts out both hard-hitting non-fiction books and tabloid-style scandal rags. The Invincible Journalist, penned by company president Toyama himself, was a candidate for the Japan Non-Fiction Prize. Oh, what do you want? If this is about work, I'm already booked pretty full. He'd taken work from Heaven Publishing on several occasions, but the pay was hardly competitive. Lately, he'd been turning them down a lot, so he hadn't heard from Toyama in a while. No, this isn't work-related. Then, what do you want? I'm kind of pressed for time here. Working on some copy. Minorikawa was in no mood to beat around the bush. It seemed like every conversation he had with Toyama went like this. Ah, you're busy. That's good. Busy's good when you're a freelancer. Toyama sounded unusually sympathetic. Minorikawa found it off-putting. I hear sales have been good on your end, he said cautiously. With this month's 4-Star General Gossip and all. 4-Star General Gossip was a monthly magazine, Heaven Publishing's flagship publication. A magazine focusing on the private lives of celebrities and politicians. Oh, so he's not just a journalist, he's a rumor monger. Most of the articles found in its pages are random nonsense, but 1 out of every 100 or so contains an actual major scoop, making it a difficult outlet to ignore. It had a small circulation and for the most part flew under the radar, but once in a while they'd land some big scoop and sell like crazy. This month's edition had come with a free scratch card, a gimmick that had moved 100,000 copies with ease. 5 winning symbols in a row wins 100,000 yen, was it? Minorikawa asked. A weak, moist sound came through the receiver. Hmm? Baffled, Minorikawa listened more closely. It came again. Then again. It sounded kind of like sobbing. Mr. Toyama, are you crying? There was another soft sob, and then yet another. What's going on? Where are you? Minorikawa asked. At the office, Toyama managed. He let out another mewling whimper. What's the matter? It's nothing. Well, it's gotta be something. Come on, what is it? Toyama gave no reply. Mr. Toyama, you still there? Silence. What is it? What happened? Look, doesn't tell me anything. What the hell is going on? Toyama squeaked out a drawn-out whine. Okay, I'm sick of this. I'm hanging up now. Minorikawa was about to break the connection when he heard Toyama murmur. The only thing I can do now is die. The taxi lurched to a sudden stop as the driver slammed on the brakes. Minorikawa pitched forward, his face smacking against the back of the seat in front of him. Kimizuka stuck his head out the window. Careful, buddy, he shouted at someone in the street ahead. You're gonna get yourself killed. Minorikawa blinked the stars from his eyes and saw a man moving alongside the cab. The guy grabbed onto the handle of the back door. Please, I need you to let me have this cab. No way, Minorikawa snapped. Just who did this guy think he was? Please, I'm begging you here. Look, I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab. I know how ridiculous this must sound, but please, this is really, really urgent. Urgent? Yes, it's a matter of life or death. Please. The guy did look pretty desperate. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm dealing with something urgent here too. Then let me ride with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here. The guy sure was persistent. Maybe he was telling the truth, but Minorikawa had problems of his own. Sorry, buddy. It's life or death on my end, too. I gotta look after me and mine. Right. So sorry to trouble you. Finally, the guy gave up and shuffled away. Guess it couldn't have been that much of a life-ending crisis after all. Minorikawa checked his wristwatch. Damn it! That guy just cost us 5 minutes! I'll try to make it up, sir, the driver called back. The taxi lurched into motion, the engine quickly revving up to speed. Once inside the building, he avoided the elevator in favor of rushing up the stairs. Heaven Publishing rented out the 3rd and 4th floors. In all likelihood, Toyama would be on the editing department of the 4-star General Gossip on the 4th floor. When he got there, however, the door was locked. Mr. Toyama! Hey, Mr. Toyama! He shouted and banged, but there was no reply. Something was seriously wrong. Minorikawa took a deep breath, then kicked the door in. Whoa! The sight he stepped into the office filled him with horror. Oh. Minorikawa clutched on the sides of his head. I'm too late. Oh no. If only I'd gotten here a little sooner. Oh. Just 5 minutes. Kano, how could you do that to him? Minorikawa rushed to Heaven Publishing as fast as he could, but he didn't get there in time to save Toyama. And, sad to say, it was really all Kano's fault. Why does Kano want a taxi so badly? Check his 11:10 timestamp and the situation might become clearer. Police officers always wanting like free access to everything. No, right now I've got a job to focus on. Kano shook his head to clear out the foolish impulses. What the hell had he been thinking? A girl's life was on the line. Marrying Rumi was more important to him than anything, but now wasn't the time. Besides, now that he had thought about it, running out on a crucial investigation to meet with the old man probably wasn't going to score him any points. Rumi's dad didn't strike him as someone who'd approve of shirking one's responsibilities. Kano would just have to wrap up this kidnapping case a little ahead of schedule. Then he could have a proper sit-down with Shizuo. As he considered his plan, he caught sight of the man with the attaché case walking by. Just looks like a random Dutch guy. Further up along Dogenzaka, in the direction the perp was heading, was where Yamate Dori joined Route 246. Maybe the guy was planning to meet up with a getaway car? No, wait, hold on. If that were the plan, why would the gang have ditched the motorcycle earlier? Kano started tailing the man, racking his brain all the while. The suspect turned down a narrow side road. He wasn't headed towards Yamate Dori or Route 246 at all, but back towards Shibuya Station. What in the world was going on? It was starting to feel like the crooks were just messing with the investigation team. Yeah, I think this bit will play out the same way. They said it was that oh, so now I can jump back to Minorikawa? Okay. Alright. Minorikawa, yeah. The taxi's tires squealed as the cab rounded a corner. The shift in momentum made Minorikawa topple over in the back seat. There we go. 10 minutes on the dot, the driver announced. Minorikawa righted himself and looked out the window. Shibuya Station. I knew you could do it, Mr. Kimazuka. He told the driver how to get to Heaven Publishing. It shouldn't be more than 5 minutes further. Sir, if I may ask, just what are you in such a hurry over? Son of a bitch. Beg your pardon? I beg your pardon? Kimazuka bristled. Okay. I'll try to remember that. Minorikawa said. Wait, not you, the guy who's waiting on me. Minorikawa said. I mean to give that son of a bitch a piece of my mind. Now, riddle me this. Will I ever have to change the timeline twice? Will I have to change it one way, then back the other way at any point? Or is there like one way that these things can go down? Only one way. Okay. The multi-tenant building where Heaven Publishing had its offices came into view. The taxi stopped outside. Minorikawa opened the door as he hurriedly reached for his wallet. Then he stopped. What if the worst had come to pass and he needed to take Toyama to a hospital? Should he have the taxi wait here? Or would it be better to call an ambulance? Sir, is there a problem? The driver asked. Wait here, I'll be right back. Minorikawa was out of the cab in an instant and running for the building. Once inside, he avoided the elevator in favor of rushing up the stairs. Heaven Publishing rented out the 3rd and 4th floors. In all likelihood, Toyama would be at the editing department of the 4-star General Gossip on the 4th floor. When he got there, however, the door was locked. Mr. Toyama! Hey, Mr. Toyama! He shouted and banged, but there was no reply. Something was seriously wrong. Minorikawa took a deep breath and kicked the door in. Whoa! Toyama was standing on a stool, about to slip his head through a noose that hung from the ceiling. What the hell are you doing? Minorikawa lunged for Toyama. The two men crashed to the floor in a tangled heap. A pile of clutter slid off a nearby desk and fell on top of them. Minorikawa, what are you doing? Toyama whined. Dragging himself back to his feet proved something of a challenge. That's what I'd like to know. Minorikawa's fury was mounting. What the hell is this all about? He jabbed an accusing finger at the noose hanging from the ceiling. Oh, that. One of the fluorescent lights died, and I was just swapping it out. Don't you feed me that bull. That's not how you swap a light bulb. How many publishers does it take to fix a light bulb? 1. Because, you know. What was that phone call all about? That business about how the only thing you could do now was die. Tell me. Just a joke. Toyama curled his lips into a faint semblance of a smile. Minorikawa wasn't buying it, but he didn't have time to press the issue. A cute little voice echoed through the editing office. Daddy, I'm back from the store. A little girl came walking in, carrying a length of rubber gas tubing. It was Toyama's 5th grade daughter, Hana. Teruo Toyama's only daughter, currently 10 years old. The night Hana was born at Shibuya Central Hospital, there was an unexpected fireworks display outside the window of the maternity ward. As he looked out the bursting rockets, Teruo decided to name his daughter Hana after the Japanese word for fireworks, Hanabi. Minorikawa stared. Toyama, you were planning on using that hose to... He hesitated to end his sentence with, gas yourself to death. Well, you know, it's almost gas heater season after all. The hell it is! It was a beautiful sunny April day outside. Well, you know how sensitive I am to the cold. This was getting truly ridiculous. Minorikawa got right up in his face. Listen, just explain to me what the heck is going on, okay? He kept his voice low, but his eyes were steely. Hana clung tightly to her father, gazing worriedly up at the two men. No, it's just... Toyama let out a long, heavy sigh of resignation. Keep out. Jump keywords might be hidden within a tip. A man named Junichi Yanagishita shows up in Tama's story at 11:20. And he lets out a sigh, like Toyama's. Try checking the tip for that sigh. I wonder. Wait, I obviously missed some stuff. I whirl around in a panic to see an odd-looking man standing in the doorway. Wait, what am I doing? Wait, shit. Wait, what did I do? Wait, what? I'm confused. What? What the fuck? Why is this guy so funky? But hey, a job's a job. Saved him. Yes, I did. Oh, yes, I did save him. I did save him. Oh, I saved him. Forgot I saved him. Thank you for reminding me that I saved this guy. Tell me to sell this junk, I'll sell it. The door flies open suddenly, and a loud voice belts out. Hold it right there! I whirl around in a panic to see an odd-looking man standing in the doorway. It's Junichi Yanagishita. He's the guy who hired us. I heard that, Chiri. Don't you go calling my product junk. That's disrespectful. Chiri gave him an apologetic look. Whoops. Sorry about that. You should be, but whatever. If you really have doubts, have a try for yourself. Mr. Yanagishita pulls a bottle of burning hammer from his coat pocket. This guy is like Jimmy T RTX mode. Burning hammer. Sister products include Dell Sweats, Cellulose, Better Sweater, Dom Pepperon, Power Burn Z, Mr. Thin, Nega Chow, and Super Nega Chow. At first glance, it looks like some kind of energy supplement, but the cheapo label gives it an immediate impression of sketchiness. Go on, Yanagishita says. Give it a go. Chiri reaches out to take it. But no sooner does she grab the bottle than Mr. Yanagishita shoots out once more. Wait, hold on! What? Chiri squawks. What gives? You two. You're both good stomach-wise. Stomach-wise? Yeah, drinking this stuff on an empty stomach can cause some pretty nasty problems. So just make sure you eat or drink something beforehand. Doesn't matter what, really. Wait, nasty problems? Yeah. Such as what, I ask. I'd rather not say. Nobody would buy it otherwise. Seriously? It's all good. I just had lunch, Chiri says. She flashes a carefree smile. Well, I haven't eaten yet. But on the other hand, I've been guzzling as much iced tea as I can to fill myself up. It's probably safe for me to try this stuff. Oh. Wait, is this that stuff that gives you visions or something? Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait. Is this that stuff that gives you visions or something? I remember a rumor I heard not too long ago. Some kind of urban legend. It was about some drink with a weird burning spicy flavor, and supposedly it turns all of your fingernails a faint shade of black. Then you see things you can't normally see, and hear things you can't normally hear. What the fuck is going on? Who are you? Who are you? Wait. Who are you? Let me go back. If I spam X there... Because I noticed those question marks were red. I don't think those do anything because I spammed X. I had heard some college students talking about hearing voices like that, swearing this mystery drink could have that effect. It's a little unnerving, but I really doubt it could be true. I stick the bottle of burning hammer into my mascot head mouth. It has an unexpected smell, like curry. Getting my own lips around the mouth of the bottle, I gulp down the liquid inside. Huh? Doesn't taste like anything. A handful of seconds go by. What the heck? It feels like a firecracker just exploded in my mouth. Now it's spicy. Way too spicy. It's like I just swallowed a chili pepper coated in curry powder. Before I know it, I'm sweating bullets. Well, you sweating? Mr. Yanagishita asks. Like a whole lot? You are, aren't you? Why does he sound so happy about that? That right there is the magic of burning hammer at work. Cheery and I are at a loss for words. Burning hammer. Drink all you want and just burn those pounds away. How's that sound? I was losing frames. When did I lose frames? Oh no. Good, huh? This is just so stupid spicy it makes you sweat, Cherry blurts out. Blunt and to the point, I approve. Yeah? Well, I guess you're right, Yanagashita says. The frame dropping, who are you? It dropped frames there? Really? Fuck, man. He hangs his head. What is in this stuff, I ask. I can still feel my tongue tingling. Heck, my body is almost too numb to move. I'm so shocked I even forgot to get properly angry. It looks like he has bunny ears. So it's this health food product I got imported from America a few years back. Yanagishita explains. But the import agency went out of business not long after. It couldn't move the merch. So I bought up the whole lot. Everything they had in their storehouse. Spent all the money I had on it. Cheery arches an eyebrow. How much did it cost you? She asks. 1 million yen for 300 bottles. I can scarcely believe my ears. 300 bottles at 1 million yen for the lot. That's roughly 3,333 yen a piece. Each one of these teensy little bottles cost over 3,000 yen. You got ripped off, man, Cheery says. You really think so? Huh? Yeah, you're probably right. He hangs his head even more despondently. This is the sort of thing they'd sell in 100 yen shops or something. Ouch. Cheery moving in for the kill. 100 yen shops? Really? Or, yeah, 100, yeah. Mr. Yanagishita lets out the heaviest of sighs. I'm starting to feel pretty bad for the guy, actually. Don't let it get you down, sir, I say, hoping to comfort him. But Mr. Yanagishita just lets out a sob-choked sigh. A deep breath, empathetically exhaled, often a sign of disappointment, stress, or unrequited love. Also a way of expressing anxiety brought on by massive debt. One has no money to give, only sighs. Right around now, Minoru Minorikawa is in the company of someone inclined to sigh this way. No, it's just... Toyama let out a long, heavy sigh of resignation. It's the scratch cards that were in the 4-star general gossip. A type of lottery card featuring areas printed with a special silver ink. These silver inked areas can be scratched off with just a fingertip or coin to reveal potential winnings, providing a quick speed lotto fix. In order to prevent the symbols or letters underneath the silver from showing through, the back of the card is printed in black. However, you always seem to lose when you've got your hopes up, but manage to win when you least expect it. Thirsty. That's where the problem is. And what is the problem? You shine a light on the cards from behind. You can see where the winning symbols are. Whoa! I messed things up dealing with the printing company. All of this. He gestured vaguely. It's my fault. My responsibility. He proceeded to explain the situation in detail. Word was quick to leak on the internet that there was a way of finding the winning symbols. And suddenly thousands of card holders turned up en masse to collect. Heaven Publishing was hit with a massive financial liability, and the employees rushed to flee a sinking ship. Before Toyama realized it, he was the only one left at the company, and he was up against the deadline for next month's 4-star general gossip. If I have to drop next month's issue, I'll be stuck in debt even deeper. If that happens... Finished. Toyama gave out a dismal groan. Don't drop the issue, Minorikawa snapped. He pounded his fist right into the side of a cardboard box, but Toyama just shook his head weakly. I've been up for 3 days straight trying to fill the pages. It's not enough. I can't do the impossible. He dropped his gaze to the floor. Countless scratch cards lay scattered about. They'd probably been amidst the pile that had fallen off the desk earlier. Each card showed a neat row of 5 win symbols. Can't know if it's impossible if you don't see through it, or see it through. Wait. You can't know if it's impossible if you don't see it through. I'll never make it in time. The proof needs to be done by 8 o'clock this evening. The final stage before printing, when the copy or manuscript is checked for errors. Not sending corrected proofs to the printer before the deadline can result in the book or magazine in question not making it onto the shelves in time for release day. Well then, Minorikawa thought to himself. He let out a sigh and held his hand out to Hana. Hana, would you mind giving me that hose? Hana gave her father a quick look, then handed the rubber hose to Minorikawa. This won't be necessary. He tossed the rubber hose into the trash, then jabbed his finger at Toyama. Show me the layout and draft proposed for next month's issue. Toyama blinked a few times in disbelief. Huh? You can't possibly be serious. I'm trying to help. Now show me the layout and proposal before I change my mind. After a brief, incredulous pause, Toyama hurried off to grab the paperwork. Layout in publishing speak is an outline of a magazine showing which articles will occupy which pages. Minorikawa gave it a quick once-over, finding that 12 of the pages were still blank and untouched. He wanted to punch whatever writers had been assigned those pages. "See what I mean?" Toyama said. It's hopeless. He sounded perversely proud of his failure. Getting enough material to fill 12 pages by 8 o'clock. Yeah, it was definitely a tall order, all right. Says who? Says who? Minorikawa replied. Remember who you're talking to here. You seriously think you can do it? You're joking, right? You're joking, right? Minorikawa shot back. I seriously know I can do it. There's nothing in this world that I hate more than a bad joke. Why are you doing this for me? Toyama was getting misty-eyed. I'm not doing this for you, you spineless wimp. I'm doing this for the poor little Hana. Minorikawa, so sorry. Toyama bowed his head so deeply Minorikawa thought he might put his face through the floor. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to your daughter. Oh, forgive me. Please forgive me, Hana. Toyama clutched her tightly in his arms. The girl hugged him back, on the verge of tears. Hey now, enough of the waterworks. I've got your backs. Don't worry about a thing. Minorikawa picked up the draft proposal for the pages that needed filling. The words Shibuya Scuttlebutt Special were plastered across the cover sheet in big bold type. Okay, so a 12-page special edition block on Shibuya, fair enough. And first on the docket, drink yourself thin with burning hammer. This reeked of a scam. The only way drinking more of something would make you lose weight would probably be if it were mixed with a laxative, probably. Still, there wasn't enough time to tweak the layout plan now. According to the proposal write-up, a product demo was scheduled for 1 p.m. that day. The location printed on the map was blurry and hard to make out, but Minorikawa had a rough idea where it was. It looked like he didn't have much of a choice but to swing by in hopes of getting more material. He scanned further along into the proposal. Society of Surveillance, hidden cameras installed throughout Shibuya. The rise and fall of Shibuya's vigilante squad. Where are they now? Washed up screenwriter showcase. Sexy Squared, twins share top prize at local university beauty contest. Shibuya now. Black market organ trafficking in Shibuya, shadowy foreign crime syndicate exposed. Those 7 pieces were to fill in the 12 empty pages. That was the plan at any rate, but there wasn't enough material there to make any headway. The Shibuya Now article didn't even have any proposed content. This sucked hardcore. Didn't look like there was enough material for the rise and fall of Shibuya's vigilante squad either. The note suggested that a few years prior, a group of youngsters in Shibuya had banded together to help fight crime in their neighborhood. At this point, however, things had flipped around completely, and they'd become a gang of street punks themselves. A turn to the dark side. It had the makings of an interesting article, to be sure, but tracking down this gang would take time. Minorikawa was personally intrigued by the one about organ harvesting in Shibuya. The rumor was that organs were being smuggled out of Southeast Asia and fenced locally at a tremendous price. There was even a plan to ascertain the authenticity of these claims. Fascinating. If Minorikawa was going to be spending all day gathering other material, though, he didn't have much time to spare for it. Shibuya Now. The rise and fall of Shibuya's vigilante squad. Black market organ trafficking in Shibuya. Minorikawa decided that one of those 3 would have to go. He thought about it long and hard as he stared at the draft proposal. There was a good chance he'd really screw himself over if he picked the wrong one. Finally, he decided to cut. Shibuya Now. He decided to cut Shibuya now. He didn't have the time to make up an article out of whole cloth. His goal was to just make sure that that four-star general gossip made it to the press at all. Society of Surveillance. Where are they now? Sexy Squared. Those three pieces that had individuals slated for interviews, but no appointments have been made with any of them. Unscheduled interviews were a dicey prospect. Minorikawa decided to call them up on his cell as he made his way down the list. The only one he managed to get a hold of was Shinosuke Oarari from the Where Are They Now piece. Former broadcast writer, he appeared on various popular variety shows on commercial network Sun TV. He currently heads up a small theater troupe known as the Wandering Angels, operating out of Shibuya. Later today, the troupe is putting on a performance at Theater Ace and Sakuragao Kacho. He said he'd be willing to give an interview, a 15-minute interview after 2:30. Minorikawa sighed. He'd just have to get material from the others in a more impromptu fashion then. Putting his notes to the grindstone, he started throwing together a schedule for the day. Was it possible to get all that material and write it all up and still finish the whole thing by 8 o'clock? It was no use. No matter how he tweaked it, none of his simulations ended with him having a proof ready on time. He just needed one more thing, and that was another writer. Minorikawa zoomed through his contacts list, calling up all the freelance writers he knew. The results were depressing. Answering machines. Overseas on business. In the hospital. Currently doing time. Before long, he'd called everyone he could think of except for one. Novice freelancer Chiaki Iso. Chiaki was a bit of an odd duck, a reporter who was scared of talking to people. Minorikawa had never known anyone who became so hopelessly flustered in a one-on-one setting. In such a rattled state to be unable to speak, Chiaki's tendency to become flustered is famous among her freelance writer colleagues. Once she conducted an hour-long interview during which she could only manage to ask the interview subject's name. Yet another chapter in the legend of the hopelessly flustered Chiaki. If she couldn't talk to people, she certainly couldn't do interviews. And if she couldn't get any real interview content, she wouldn't be able to write much in the way of copy. Would she come to his aid if asked? Quite probably. The issue was whether she would hinder more than help. This was no time for beggars to be choosers. He decided to call up Chiaki. The phone rang several times before a sleepy voice finally answered. Hello? Chiaki, hi, it's Minorikawa. Are you free today? Huh? What? She seemed thrown by the abrupt question. Did you just wake up? Huh? No, I mean, well, yeah. Good morning. Her voice still sounded half asleep. So then I'm guessing you don't have any work slated for today, as usual. Pretty much. No work, no money, no food. Nothing to do except sleep. If I'm not awake, I can't dwell on how hungry I am. She didn't sound well, almost like she literally didn't have anything to eat. Well, I've got work for you. I'm over at the 4-star General Gossip. Get over here ASAP. What? You really mean it? That seemed to finally wake her up. Yeah, but hurry. Minorikawa decided he'd assign Chiaki to the rise and fall of Shibuya's vigilante squad. First, I want you to take a look around Shibuya for this group of vigilante types. By vigilantes, you mean people who have volunteered to help prevent crimes? There was a note of relief in Chiaki's voice. Yeah, that's right. Except apparently now they've turned into a nasty street gang. Did you say street gang? Nuh-uh. No way, absolutely not. Minorikawa could almost see her shaking her head on the other end of the line. What if I got killed or sold into slavery overseas or something? He doubted there was much chance of the latter, or the former for that matter, but still he understood her concern. Alright, I hear you, he said. Then how about you go hang around Shibuya Station and do some street interviews for me? Street interviews? There was a nervous waver in Chiaki's voice now. Yeah, just talk to normal, regular people walking outside the train station. That should be fine, yeah? But, Mr. Mino, street interviews aren't really my, Apparently it was beyond her capacity to give him a simple no. No buts. Just interview at least 10 people and get me an article by 6 o'clock. Okay. Minorikawa had originally planned to axe the Shibuya Now piece because it didn't have any content, but getting some quotes from people on the street would at least make for a useful filler. That gave him a sudden idea. He'd take on the vigilante story himself and have Chiaki handle Shibuya Now. That was plenty of work to keep the two people occupied throughout the day. The more time-consuming organ market story would have to be cut. After explaining what kind of interviews he was after, Minorikawa hung up. Okay, I've gotten us another writer. We'll get through Toyama. Somehow. Toyama 4 o'clock. But as you can imagine, I don't have a single yen to give them. That's less than ideal, yeah. So what's the plan? Well, they've said, provisionally, that if next month's issue gets published, they'll be willing to wait on repayment. And there's no problem. The issue's coming out, guaranteed. But they're not going to take my word on that anymore. I'm going to need to prove it. If we could fill, say, half the 12 pages by the time they show up, I could probably convince them. Alright, Minorikawa said warily. So for starters, we need 6 pages by 4 o'clock. They had to get all 12 pages done as it was. That made a perfect midpoint to shoot for. Any other problems you'd like to let me know about? No, Toyama said. No, that's all. I really am sorry about this, Minorikawa. Again, he bowed his head low. Minorikawa felt distinctly awkward. He had known Toyama for years, and had never been kowtowed to like this before. Yeah, well, just let me handle it, alright? Minorikawa unfolded a map of Shibuya. The first order of business was deciding where to begin getting content. He marked the editing office with a circle, then considered where to head next. Diet drink sales demo, center guy. Where are they now? Sakura Gauka, Theater Ace. Society of Surveillance, Dogenzaka, Endo Electronics. And Sexy Squared, Midoriyama Academy. A university associated with Midoriyama High School. Notable alumni include famous actress Masami Nagahama and National High School Baseball Championship winning pitcher, the Tissue Prince. Its educational philosophy is summed up in its slogan, words, skill, and beauty. A very high percentage of winners of the Miss Midoriyama contest go on to careers in the entertainment industry. Shibuya Vigilantes. Location to be determined. The diet drink sales demo was at 1 o'clock. And the interviews with Shinosuke Urara, how do I fucking pronounce that? Oarai, for Where Are They Now, was slated for 2:30. So those times were set. The question was what to do in the interim. It was a bit of a hike, but maybe he should go to Dogonzaka and check out Endo Electronics. It was a bit of a hike, but maybe he should go to Dogonzaka and check out Endo Electronics. Yeah, that should give him what he needed to get put together the Society of Surveillance piece. Or I. Okay. Okay, I'm headed out. And don't even think about doing anything else stupid while I'm gone. Got it? Norikawa hustled out the editing office, hoping Toyama would take his admonition to heart. Exiting the building, he hopped into the taxi that was waiting outside. Thanks for waiting. Can you get me to Dogonzaka ASAP? Son of a bitch. Norikawa bristled. I beg your pardon? That son of a bitch you wanted to give a piece of your mind, sir? Was he waiting for you like you expected? Oh, yeah. And I damn well did give him a piece of my mind, too. Glad to hear it, sir. The taxi sped off. Norikawa pulled out the proposal and looked it over again. The idea for the surveillance story revolved around the claim that hidden cameras had been installed throughout Shibuya shopping districts, upwards of 500 of them. Supposedly, these had eliminated a lot of blind spots, and the crime rate in that area dropped significantly. The cameras were managed by Daisuke Endo, the owner of Endo Electronics and chairman of the local downtown committee. That was Norikawa's first mission then. He needed to get this guy's story. Scanning the side road, Norikawa finally spotted a run-down electronics shop. The sign out the front, which looked like it might fall off at any moment, read Endo Electronics. Right here's fine. The taxi stopped and Norikawa pulled a 10,000 yen bill from his wallet. Keep the change, he said. What? Look, don't sweat it. The name's Norikawa, and I'm a freelance writer. I care about two things, what's real and what's true. There's real worth to what you've done for me. That there's a token of my appreciation. It's not much, but take it. Please. Norikawa slid out of the taxi and headed for the electronics store. Inside, Endo Electronics looked more like a mountain of hoarded junk than an actual business. Towering piles of ancient appliances stretched toward the ceiling. Old television sets with dial knobs leaned against computers with 5-inch floppy drives. The storage medium for personal computers in production from 1976 to 2001. The magnetic discs are sheathed in paper or plastic jackets and are known for their tendency to flop around in one's hand. Technically speaking, they are 5.25 inches in diameter. Incidentally, Door, released in 1983, the debut title from this game's producer, Koichi Nakamura, was produced in a 5-inch floppy version. Good to know. What possible use could there be for all this outdated stuff? Mr. Endo, are you in here? Norikawa called out. Nobody came to greet him. The shop was definitely open, though. Surely the proprietor hadn't left it unattended. Hey, Mr. Endo! Come on, I know you're in there! After a short wait, Norikawa heard sounds from the living space behind the shop. The door opened to reveal a tired-looking middle-aged man. Yeah, what do you want? Are you Mr. Endo? Norikawa asked. I am, the man said guardedly. And I'm sorry, but I'm in the middle of something at the moment. Could you come back tomorrow, or... Please, just give me a minute. 1 minute. I'm a freelance writer. Name's Norikawa. Norikawa showed Endo his business card. I'm writing an article for 4-Star General Gossip. A magazine piece, huh? Precisely, so if I could just have a little of your time today... The phone rang, cutting him off before he could get down to business. I'm sorry, you'll have to excuse me for a moment. Endo reached into the clutter and pulled out a telephone. Hello, Endo Electronics. The proprietor listened for a moment, then raised an eyebrow. Yeah, that's a problem, all right. All right, understood. I'll try and get a hold of the customer then. Endo set the receiver back down. What was that all about? Minorikawa asked. Oh, yesterday I sold a dry ice machine, and the manufacturer just called to let me know the model is defective. Defective? Apparently, once it starts making dry ice, it won't stop. I need to tell the customer I have to recall the machine and refund their deposit. Please give me a moment. Endo sifted through some sales slips and read a number off one and made a phone call. Nobody picked up on the other end, however. That's right, he grumbled to himself. He said they had some performance today. Performance? Minorikawa asked. I sold it to a guy from some theater troupe. They're called the Wandering Angels or something. A theater troupe run by Shinosuke Orai. This afternoon at 5:30 p.m. they are performing their 22nd piece, Au revoir. Au revoir. Right now, all of the actors are already at the theater, except for Akiomi Mondo, who plays the rival of the main character Ryu. The angry production chief has sent his assistant to Mondo's apartment, but he does not yet know what awaits him there. Continued in the Tale of the Wandering Angels episode 2. 6 episodes in all. The Wandering Angels? Was that Shinosuke Orai's theater group? Minorikawa had an interview with him booked for 2:30 p.m. Anyhow, what can I do for you? Minorikawa hastily explained what he was after. Endo gave him a dubious look. As I said earlier, I'm a bit busy right now. Busy cleaning up, I hope. How do you get anything done in this mess? Why, are you this rude with all your interview subjects? 5 minutes! Just give me 5 minutes of your time, please. You've got to be joking. Go on, get the hell out of here. Endo headed for his back room in a huff. Fine, then I'll just have to write about what you've already told me. Namely, that Endo Electronics sells defective merchandise. Huh? Just what are you implying? Did you or did you not sell that theater troupe a defective piece of equipment? Look, I'm gonna get in touch with them as soon as... I'm betting they're in a hurry preparing for their performance. I doubt you'll be getting through to them today. Endo bit his lip. Now that I have your attention, Minorikawa said, let's make a deal. What kind of deal? I'm meeting with a member of the Wandering Angels a little later today. I can let them know about the dry ice machine for you. In exchange, all you have to do is give me my interview. Endo scowled. And where's your proof that you'll be meeting with the Wandering Angels? I may take advantage of a guy when he is down, Minorikawa replied. But one thing, I'm not a liar. One thing I'm not is a liar. The shopkeeper took a few moments to think about it. Fine, he grumbled. 5 minutes. That's all you get. Hope you don't mind if I change my lighting. Getting to be that time. I should also get another lozenge. Minorikawa whipped his notepad out of his coat like he was drawing a gun. Now let's get right down to it, shall we? Go right on ahead. So I hear that over 500 surveillance cameras have been installed throughout Shibuya shopping districts. Yes, that's right. Why so many? We used to have a lot of delinquents in town. Young people who act rowdy or cause trouble, often at arcades or convenience store parking lots. and who frequently resort to petty theft and other mischief, also referred to in more outdated terms as ruffians or hoodlums. Endo said the word with marked distaste. Oh, yeah, I remember there being some problem kids around. They were real punks. They vandalized my signs, made a mess of my storehouse. They're just awful. I see. Minorikawa scribbled diligently in his notepad. Heck, my own son put together a sort of vigilante squad to help teach those punks a lesson. Wait. Vigilante squad? Whoa, hold up right there for a sec. Minorikawa jutted out his hand to interrupt. This guy's son was part of the vigilante squad? What a stroke of luck. Maybe you could also provide some info for the article on the gangs of Shibuya. Sorry, I don't mean to get too far off topic here. Could you tell me the name of this group your son belongs to? They call themselves SOS. Originally, a group of well-meaning young people who would get together downtown as a sort of vigilante squad, trying to keep Shibuya clean and safe. In those days, the group never engaged in theft or other criminal activity. More recently, however, SOS has become one of the biggest gangs in Shibuya, resorting to defacing public property with graffiti, shoplifting, and shaking people down for cash. Prided themselves on being on the top gang in Shibuya and all that. The top gang in Shibuya? Did I really just hit the jackpot right here? Not to pat myself on the back, but go me. All I have to do is step outside and the story finds me. I think I might be a natural at this. As it happens, I'd also like to interview people from SOS. Would you be able to put me in touch with your son? Yeah, sure. You should know that my son isn't in the gang anymore. Let's see what happens to these two. Tommy, look. There it was. A blue van had appeared nearby, parked in a spot that had been empty previously. Hachi couldn't see who was inside, but there was definitely something fishy about it. Besides, there weren't any other blue cars around, so this had to be it. He'd been right. The crooks had come back after all. I'm gonna go take a quick look, Hachi said. You wait here. But before he could carry out his plan, Hitomi jumped to her feet. Without a word, she rushed towards the van. Hold on! I said wait! She wasn't slowing down. Hachi caught hold of her arm. Wait! This could be dangerous. What if the kidnapper's in there? What if my sister's in there? I have to go help her! Hachi knew full well what it was like to be impulsive. But this is one situation where cooler heads would have to prevail. We can't just hang out here. We can't just hang out here, she insisted. What if the car takes off again? That's why I said I was going to take a look first. But isn't that dangerous? What if they do something to my sister because of some random guy comes snooping around? Oh, huh. Yeah, you got a point. Hachi thought as fast as he could. The criminal told Hitomi to get into the van. There had to be some specific reason for that. What if they were planning to abduct her as well? Whatever the case, he couldn't just let her go. He had to make a snap decision. Okay, let's go together. Does that work for you? Please, we have no idea who or what we might run into. Hitomi gave a slight nod. All right, she said, but let me go first and you follow, okay? Got it, Hachi replied. Hachi waited as Hitomi started walking, then followed her at a distance so it wouldn't look like they were together. She headed straight for the van. Two men got out of the car, neither of them Japanese. Hachi picked up his pace in case he needed to close the distance fast. One of the men approached Hitomi and said something to her. She gave an affirmative nod. Or an affirming nod. Suddenly, the two men grabbed her from either side. They dragged her into the van and shoved her into the back seat. Achi broke out into a sprint. Of course it was a trap. He couldn't guess what their whole plan was, but kidnapping Hitomi was only obviously a part of it. But before he could reach the vehicle, the door slid shut. The van sped off an instant later. Achi raced after it. He ran as hard as he could, thinking of nothing else. He couldn't give up now. He couldn't let things end like this. He'd made a promise. No quitting halfway. And no turning his back on someone in trouble. But the car kept getting further and further away. Before long, it was just a blue speck that vanished into the cityscape. No! Achi never saw Hitomi again. Well, that sure showed me. Look, just let me go first. I don't want to put you at risk. Hitomi's determination wavered at the look in Achi's eyes. Please, he continued, we have no idea who or what we might run into. If I think they're going to try to run off again, I'll give some signal. Then you can come along, and I doubt they'll be interested in leaving then. Hitomi gave a reluctant nod. Please, be careful. Will do. And tell me if my sister's in there. I will. You can count on it. Achi stepped out into the open and started walking toward the van. He tried to look as if he wasn't paying attention or if he wasn't paying it any attention. Yep, I am just an ordinary passerby. As he got nearer, he tried to sneak a glimpse inside. The van's dark window film made it hard to see who might be inside, or even how many people. Casually, he moved closer still to get a better look. Suddenly, the sliding door burst open and several people jumped out. None of them were Japanese. Within moments, Achi was surrounded. Whoa, what? Hey, what's the deal? Achi said. He let out a little chuckle. Man, this thing must be packed. How many seats you got in that thing anyway? He took another step toward the vehicle and looked inside. One of the men pulled a knife from inside his jacket, thrusting it out in Achi's direction. He'd probably meant it as a simple threat, but on reflex, Achi went into self-defense mode, kicking him right in the jaw. There was a loud crack as his foot connected. The man dropped, out like a light. The others stared, then rushed him. While this sure hadn't gone as planned, too late to take it back now, the damage was done. Achi was going to have to take out the rest of these punks too. He nimbly shifted his feet, evading their initial attacks. Having to take these guys on taking these guys on 3-1 wasn't going to be pretty. Achi! He heard Hitomi cry out. Crap. He hadn't given any signal, but she had come out of hiding anyway. Hitomi, stay back! How was he supposed to fight off 3 guys and protect her at the same time? What could he do? What should he do? Within moments, a number of passers-by had gathered around the fight. Maybe they had heard Hitomi shouting. Hey, what's going on? Oh my god, is that a knife? This ain't just some petty squabble. Someone call the police! Some of them began taking photos with their cell phones. One of the men cursed in frustration, then signaled for his buddies to get back into the car. Achi couldn't stop them. The engine roared to life and the van sped away. Knowing he'd never catch them on foot, Achi merely watched it go. He'd failed. This was his fault. All of it. Achi bit his lip hard. How could he possibly face Hitomi now? Achi. Hitomi's voice was hollow, empty. Achi stared down at his feet like a scolded child. Sorry, I didn't see whether your sister was in there or not. I see. The words, so simple and matter-of-fact, stung him to the heart. I'm so sorry. But Hitomi simply shook her head. The fact that she wasn't even shooing him out made him feel all the worse. I know I messed up, but he was going to say, I'll make up for it somehow, but he froze with fear at what he saw next. Across the street, staring at them, was the man with the cane. Hitomi, it's him! They had to get out of here. He grabbed Hitomi by the hand and bolted down Dogenzaka. The assassin followed, staying on his side of the road. Achi wasn't sure what to do. Should they try heading into the alleys and side streets again? No, it was more dangerous to head someplace where there'd be fewer witnesses. Best to stick to Dogenzaka for now. The man wouldn't be able to gun them down if they managed to lose themselves in the crowd along Center Guy first. Besides, the guy had to use a cane. Achi and Hitomi could outrun him. Hand in hand, they sped along Dogenzaka and through the intersection in front of the 109 building. Come on, Hitomi, just a little further. Okay. She was panting, but she pressed on. Achi glanced back over his shoulder. Huh? He stopped in surprise. What's wrong? Hitomi asked. That guy, he's not following us. Is that... That can't be Kano in the background. The slope leading down to the intersection wasn't all that steep. Several plainclothes detectives have been hiding amidst the crowd in the intersection as part of the kidnapping stakeout. Right now, Director Kuze is sending a message to all officers over the wireless, so the detectives have stopped to listen in. It's a bit unusual. An observant individual might notice. It was strange that the gunman hadn't bothered to pursue. Still, there was no time to worry about his behavior right now. Hitomi, can you still run? Yes, I'm all right. Then this is our chance. This way. They needed to put plenty of distance behind them before the assassin came after them again. But they also needed to find the van again and rescue Hitomi's sister. Would they be able to find it and yet stay hidden from the man with the cane? Achi wasn't sure one way or the other, but with Hitomi in tow, he hurried onward along Center Guy. Is this my first to be continued of this time block? No, I actually got one with a Kano as well. Okay. Let's check up on Minorikawa. As it happens, I'd also like to interview people from SOS. Would you be able to put me in touch with your son? Yeah, sure. But you should know that my son isn't in the gang anymore. Oh, Minorikawa hesitated. Guess he's of no use to me then. Oh, believe me, I know how you feel. The look on Endo's face spoke volumes. There was no point in interviewing Endo's son if he wasn't in the gang anymore. I figured that Minorikawa's run of good luck would end eventually. Still, he'd gotten a lead in the form of the name, SOS. That was progress. Alright, so back to the matter at hand. He flipped his notepad back open. What did you decide to do about all these juvenile delinquents? I set up a tiny little web camera in order to protect my property. Camera is designed to send video information to a computer via the internet. Look carefully and you can often spot them outside private residences and even on public streets, where they are installed for use in surveillance. Given the risks of transmitted data being intercepted, the images recorded by such cameras are generally encrypted to prevent playback by unauthorized third parties. Many landmarks and attractions make their camera footage publicly available online. I see. I'm guessing the webcam did the trick? Sure did. And so the other local businesses heard about it and started asking me to install some for them. Web cameras aren't particularly expensive, so it wasn't too tough to set them up all over downtown. So who's in charge of these security cameras? Members of the Downtown Business Committee take turns. Cameras are connected via a wireless network that business owners can access throughout the area. LAN, or Local Area Network. Technically, this would be a WAN, a Wireless Area Network, but that's splitting hairs. A communications system that can only be used within a limited geographical area. A wireless LAN transmits using electronic signals. Although convenient because it does not require cable attachments, there is a risk of signals conveyed in this way being intercepted by a third party. How's your security for this wireless network? Oh, no problems on that front. Endo seemed surprised at the question. All of the footage sent over the network is fully encrypted. Encryption is the process of encoding data so that it is indecipherable by a third party. Restoring encrypted data to its initial form requires what is called a key, a program designed for this purpose. There are two main types of such cryptographic systems. Secret key crypto systems use the same key for both encryption and decryption. Public key crypto systems use a public key to encrypt the data, but require a private key known by the recipient in order to decrypt. But still, people can't feel too good about being recorded on camera without their knowledge, don't you think? Minorikawa asked. The shopkeeper's expression darkened. We hope to strike a balance between crime prevention and protecting individual privacy. Aha. And who determines what that balance is? Minorikawa let a note of challenge slip into his voice. That would be me. I've been entrusted with the management of the security cameras. Get that shit off my feet. I see. So essentially you're providing your own moral oversight. Are you implying that I'm abusing my authority? Endo shot back. I'm doing this in the name of public order. Right, you've had your 5 minutes. Now get out of here. The shopkeeper stood up and headed into the back. I'll be sure to let the Wandering Angels know about that dry ice machine, Minorikawa hollered at the closing door. Episode 2. When Akiomi Mondo didn't show up at the theater at the meetup time, production assistant Yukio Tezuka went to call him at his apartment. Upon arriving, Tezuka found that the place had been staked out by debt collectors. Mondo had borrowed 300,000 yen, and they wouldn't leave his home until he paid up. It looked like the only way to save Mondo was to give the debt collectors the operating funds for the theater. But before Tezuka could head back to relay this news, the props master, Shinichi Bando, showed up. Endo didn't reply. Minorikawa had gotten enough of a story to put an article together, so he decided to hurry to a coffee shop and get started on some copy. He was making his way along Dogonzaka when his cell phone rang. The incoming call display showed Chiaki's name. Chiaki, what's going on? Oh, it's no use. She sounded like she was on the verge of tears. What's no use? I can't do this. I just can't talk to people passing by on the street. What? Why not? It's just that everyone seems so busy when they're walking past. If I try to interrupt them, they're gonna be all mad at me. Well, who the hell cares if they get mad? Minorikawa was ready to start ripping his hair out. I don't want them to be mad at me, she whimpered again. Well, this wasn't about what she wanted, was it? She was supposed to be working, not whining. Look, Chiaki, you need to get me those interviews, period. Do I make myself clear? He hung up before he could squeeze in an objection. Damn it, Minorikawa muttered. Just what I needed. One more thing to worry about. He pulled at his hair a few times, then cast his worried gaze in the direction of Shibuya Station. And another to be continued. It's down. So all we have left is Osawa and Tama. Let's see what see what Tama's all about again. I try again. It'll be okay. Whether or not it helps you lose weight, it is spicy and it does make you sweat. I'm not sure I follow, Chiri says. How much are you selling these bottles for, boss? 15,000 yen per bottle. Selling all 300 bottles would yield proceeds of 4.5 million yen after deducting expenses, such as the cost of the product, rental fee for the venue, pay for the part-timers, and printing flyers. This yields a net profit of roughly 2.5 million yen. It's doubtful that anyone would pay 15,000 yen for a single small bottle, but you never know. There could be a few housewives or young women out there who'd fork over that much in the name of weight loss. A terrifying thought. What? Chiri's jaw practically hits the floor. Mine does the same. No way. Nuh-uh, no freaking way. Calling that price point absurd wouldn't begin to do it justice. Well, look, selling it at that price is my only option. I need to cover my costs. Anyway, please, I need you both to work your hardest. Apparently he's committed to this insane course of action. Okay, Chiri replies. It's more like a sigh than a proper response, but I can't blame her. As for me, I can't. I can't even find the words, I'm so flabbergasted. Hey, I try to murmur. Sorry, what was your name again? He interjects. Oh, right, I'm Tama. Why are you still wearing your costume? I stumble my way through an explanation. Wow. So then are you going to do the sales demo like that? Well, if I can't take the mascot costume off, I don't have much of a choice, do I? No, that won't do at all. I hired you to be a model. If you're wearing that thing, then what's the point? I'm at a loss for words. The point is exactly what he's missing. It's not like I'm wearing this getup because I want to. How about we just cut it off ya? Chiri says with a big grin. She pulls a massive pair of scissors out of her bag. The blades make an unsettling snip snip sound as she waggles them in my face. Whoa! No, you can't do that! Yanagashita exclaims. That suit's a rental. I don't want to have to reimburse them for the thing. Well then, what am I supposed to do? I ask. He looks at me uncertainly. Maybe you could have someone from the rental place come down? Maybe you could have someone from the rental place come down, Chiri suggests, before helping herself to the rest of my lunch. Oh, hey, good idea, Yanagashita says. He seems to be making an effort to calm himself down, at least. Just try to grin and bear it until then, Tama. Well, I guess that's that, then. I'm sure we'll get it off eventually, I say. Hopefully before the demo. That's the spirit. I really need you to be my model. A model, huh? It's flattering, but I can't help but wonder. Would I be any good at that? Well, this is no time to be timid. I need the money, no matter what. My troubles all started earlier this morning. I was at a knick-knack shop on Center Guy. I'd happened to pass by, and I spotted a red necklace on display in the storefront. And I got this weird sensation when I saw it. You could maybe call it deja vu? Something like that. It was as if I'd been drawn to it somehow. This was mine. I was sure of it. I wanted it. No, I needed to make it mine. As soon as I possibly could. That's how strong the feeling was. The price was 40,000 yen. I checked my wallet repeatedly, but I only had 20,000 on me. Nonetheless, I needed to have it. There was just one question. How? Somehow I managed to drag myself away from the shop. Just a few minutes later, I ran into Mr. Yanagashita. "Hey," a voice said out of nowhere. "If you want, I can pay you 10,000 for a day's work." I found myself staring at this frumpy middle-aged man who was handing me his business card. Managing Director, Junichi Yanagashita, Yamato Health Foods Co., Limited. "I'm in a real bind here. I need some extra help. Would you mind coming with me? I'm begging you, just one day." He seemed pretty sketchy. As much as I needed money for that necklace, I wasn't going anywhere with some random weirdo. I ignored him and tried to just walk off. "Please, please." Yanagashita grabbed me by the hand. "Watch it, pal," I snapped. "Hands off, or I start shouting. For help." "Please, it's not like that. Just hear me out." "Look, I'm in a hurry." "Please, please." "Knock it off." I spun forcefully away from him, yanking my hand from his grip. Oof! Yanagashita twirled through the air and fell into the bushes. "Whoa! Where'd that come from?" He gasped. His eyes were as wide as saucers. "You a martial artist or something?" No, I think that was just a fluke." The truth was, I was so surprised myself at how well I'd pull off that escape move. "Ah, okay then. Look, I'm sorry. Can you give me a hand?" "No way." "No, I mean, give me your hand. My hip's killing me here." I guess. The least I could do was help the guy get to his feet. "Look, why are you hounding me so much?" "Please don't be angry. The moment I saw you, I just felt it. You're the only person who can possibly do this job for me." I let out a sigh, but my interest was admittedly piqued. "What kind of job?" "I need a sales rep for a health supplement. I want you to do PR as a dieting success story for my product. Just look at you. You have the body of an actress. Sales are going to go through the roof." Well, it was hard to feel too offended when he told me that. The job didn't seem as fishy as I had initially suspected. "All right, maybe I'm interested," I said. "There's just one thing." "Yeah, whatever it is, I'm sure I can handle it." "I need 20,000 yen as soon as possible. So, if the day only pays 10,000. All right then. If you can sell 100 bottles in our sales event, I'll throw in another 10,000 as a bonus. How's that sound?" I certainly couldn't think of any other way I was going to earn 20,000 yen in a single day. This might be exactly the break I needed. "You've got a deal. You have my services for the day," I said, bowing my head. "Yes!" Yanagashita jumped for joy. He jumped for joy. What about your hip?" "Huh? Oh, yeah, that's better now. All better. Fixed itself just now." Yanagashita bowed deeply as I gave him a dubious look. The more angles I see of Tama out of her costume, the more I'm like, yeah, that's Maria. "Look, I'm sorry," he added hurriedly. "I wasn't trying to pull a fast one on you, honest. I was just scouting for talent and I saw you and, well..." Was trusting this guy really the best idea? I was starting to worry just a little about whether he'd actually pay up. Look, I've staked everything on this sales demo later today, he went on. This is a make it or break it opportunity of a lifetime. Sure. I'll be honest with you. I'm in a ton of debt. 2 million yen. 2 million. Yanagishida's tone had taken on a feverish intensity. If I don't pay it back by the end of the day, then boy howdy am I up the creek without a paddle. How did you even get into a situation like that? I asked. He gazed skyward, a far-off look in his eyes. Because even if he knows he has no chance of winning, sometimes a man just has to stand and fight. But I guess a girl like you wouldn't understand. He laughed and smiled at his own words, but he was right. I sure as heck didn't understand in the slightest. Anyway, real quick, did you put this on? Mr. Yanagashita briskly rummaged through his bindle, then thrust a cat costume out toward me. What? Here? Yeah, before the sales event, you gotta hand out some samples. The burning hammer in the sample bottles is cut 10 parts to 1 with water. Even so, it is intensely spicy, and drinking it on an empty stomach is sure to cause gastrointestinal distress, or even make the drinker black out. It's hard to believe that a sample of something so dangerous would win over any customers, but you never know. There could be housewives or young women out there who'd accept such a risk in the name of weight loss. Another terrifying thought. The job's already started, you know? And with that, Mr. Yanagashita went about getting me into the mascot costume. Looking back on it, it was a pretty ridiculous turn of events. Still, if I was going to get my hands on that necklace, I had to take the chance that this job would pay out. I doubt we're going to be able to sell a single bottle of the scrap, Cheery whispers in my ear. I'll just have to do the best I can, I say. I say it more to myself than to anyone else. Once again, I ask myself, why am I in such a rush to get this necklace anyway? I honestly don't know. It's the strangest thing. I try my hardest to think of a reason, but all I get is a dull, aching throb at the back of my head. The same pain I felt earlier, as if I got a good bonk on the head or something. Ooh. All that's left is getting this one from Osawa. After a time, Osawa could feel himself growing calmer. He took a nice deep breath. He closed his eyes and tried to banish his nerves completely. Inclining his head towards the music, he could feel the melody pervade his body. He could scarcely believe there had been a time when he hadn't cared about music. Surely something that had such a strong effect on the body and mind alike also conveyed a deeper meaning. Osawa let the positive energy flow through him, buoying his spirits. At last, when his mood had sufficiently calmed under the music's influence, Osawa reached for the handset. Mr. Osawa. Oh, Mr. Osawa, did you have to make a phone call? The study door had opened, and a stolid-faced man had appeared in the doorway. It was Yoshio Kajiwara, one of the detectives from the Shibuya precinct. A detective with the Shibuya precinct's criminal investigation division. He is sociable but awkward, and despite his reserved personality, he can be quite unsettling. His colleagues at the precinct refer to him by nicknames such as Japanese Columbo and Little little Ken Takakura, given his own quirky demeanor as a detective. He struck Osawa as a bit too soft-spoken and meek for a detective, really. And his treatment of the kidnapping case gave an impression of a flighty detachment that made him seem rather undependable. Ah, no, it's nothing important. Osawa drew his hand back from the phone. Have there been any developments, Detective? Kajiwara shook his head apologetically. I'm sorry to bother you, but when you're finished in there, would you be so kind as to come to the living room? All right, Osawa said quietly. I'll only be a bit longer. Kajiwara nodded and departed. He took a nice deep breath, then dialed up Makino. Has there been any progress? Makino asked as he picked up. His voice was somber. No, Osawa said. Nothing much yet. A tiny sigh came in from the other end of the line. I see. Then what can I do for you? Sir, I'll just get right to the point. Have you conducted clinical trials using the antiviral drug? Makino didn't respond right away. What makes you think that? He asked at last. Osawa described the emails he'd received. When he'd finished, Makino let out his breath in surprise. Not over the phone, he said. We'll discuss this in person. I'll head over to your place when I'm done here. As soon as possible, sir. As soon as I can manage, Makino said. You're not the only person who's busy. With that, Makino hung up. There was no doubt about it, then. There had been human testing. Osawa went to let Tanaka know he'd be meeting with Makino. Kajiwara stood in the hallway. He looked like he'd been waiting there the whole time for Osawa to come out of the study. Are you hungry? He asked. Here, I've got something that's good for you, good for when you're tired. Kajiwara slipped a hand into his suit pocket. He pulled out a banana. A fruit belonging to the family Musaceae, genus Musa. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was a huge lover of bananas, and the peanut butter and banana sandwich is said to have been his favorite. If a banana peel is dropped under even remotely comedic circumstances, there is a high chance that someone will eventually slip on it. I'm fine, thanks, Osawa said. Kajiwara seemed to lack a detective's sense of situational awareness. Just being around him got on Osawa's nerves. Well, sir, I need you to come with me, the detective said. If you don't mind. He took Osawa by the arm. As Kajiwara hurried him toward the living room, Osawa could hear other detectives talking on the other side of the door. He's working at a time like this? Seriously? Jeez, I do not get rich people and their priorities. Yeah, I feel bad for his daughter. Her dad's a real piece of work. Nice. If they were bad-mouthing him in his own house. Oh, I'm really sorry about all that, Kajiwara said, pausing in embarrassment. Osawa pushed past him and opened the door. A number of police detectives had holed up in the living room. They went suddenly silent as Osawa entered. So tell me, he said sarcastically, would you rather I stay here weeping as I watch this disaster unfold? The detectives winced and grimaced. Forgive me for not being a perfect father, he added, his hostility building. Kajiwara stepped forward to intervene before things go out of hand. Now, let's not be touchy. I am not being touchy, Osawa snapped. But he knew full well that he was. These guys had the time to sit around backbiting him, but not go out and bring Maria to safety. Already close to half a day had gone by without any new developments. The ransom demand had come in the previous night at 8 o'clock. Maria had been abducted roughly an hour before. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. by Hachiko and Shibuya. Have the sister Hitomi bring 50 million yen. If not, the girl's life is forfeit. The kidnapper called only once, so the police were unable to run a trace. I'll do it, Hitomi said. Anything for my sister. She didn't hesitate in the slightest at the suggestion that she make the ransom handoff. Osawa was staunchly opposed to the idea, but the police were of the opinion that it was better to acquiesce to the kidnapper's demands. Ai's reaction, on the other hand, baffled nearly everyone. We don't have 50 million yen. We don't have 50 million just lying around. Are the police going to be putting that together for us? Kajiwara stepped in to reassure her. If it comes down to it, the police will be able to help raise the money. Okay, go ahead then. Do it. We need you to pay it back afterwards, though, of course. Well, then what's the point of that? Ai's voice spiked up to a piercing shriek. Calm down, Osawa told her. You're making a scene. Ai turned away in a huff. It's all right, detective, Osawa continued. I'll talk to the bank first thing tomorrow morning and figure something out. After that, Ai stormed out of the room. Kajiwara bowed his head several times in apology. As soon as Hitomi has made contact, we'll apprehend the suspect and take things from there. What? Hold on. Won't that put Maria in danger? If we let the kidnapper get away with the money, we have no proof that he will return the hostage safely afterwards. There was a certain logic there, Osawa had to concede. I see, he said. So you're saying that catching this guy will be easier for you if he keeps my daughter hostage? No, that's not what I was implying at all. Kajiwara... Wait, so you're saying that catching this guy will... That's not what I was implying at all. Kajiwara wiped the sweat off his brow and bowed profusely. At least, I promise we'll get your daughter back safe and sound, Mr. Osawa. Obviously, there was nothing to be gained from further challenging the detectives. Alright then. I'll let the police do their job. Osawa bowed even lower than Kajiwara had. How long are you gonna just loaf around? How long are you gonna just loaf around? Ai shrieked as she stormed into the room. Hurry up and arrest this guy! She was becoming increasingly hysterical. An hour had passed since the suspect had taken the money, and yet the police had made no effort to apprehend him. The police apparently had a rule against discussing an operation before it was fully resolved, and so the Osawas had been left in the dark. But they had overheard the task force talking over the wireless, and it appeared that they were deliberately letting the suspect roam free. Hey! I snapped again. If he gets away with our money, you are going to reimburse us, right? Osawa scowled. She made it sound like the money was more important than Maria's life. The detectives exchanged uneasy glances. Osawa chided his wife. It's only money. It doesn't matter. Only money? Are you serious? Do you have any idea how much we're talking about here? The ferocity in her voice left him with no response. He should have known better than to expect her to make sacrifices for his daughters. By now, he was accustomed to Ai's coldness towards the two girls. The twins were Osawa's daughters from his first wife, who had passed away 15 years earlier. Oh, that explains it. Ai had no blood ties to Maria or Hitomi herself. Well, I continued, are the police going to reimburse us or not? She glared pointedly at Kajiwara. Well, right now we're focused on making sure Maria is safe. I stormed up to him, shouting right in his face. Stop dodging the question! Answer me! Yes, of course, Kajiwara squeaked. Maybe, would you like something to eat to help calm you down? He held out a banana. I smacked it out of his hand. Oh, dear. What a waste. Kajiwara scrambled to retrieve the fruit from the floor. Osawa went over to Tanaka and whispered into his ear. I'm going to meet with Mr. Makino. Tanaka nodded silently. Turning, Osawa saw Kajiwara looking in their direction. They made eye contact, but Osawa quickly looked away and strode out of the living room. Kajiwara followed after him. Excuse me, Mr. Osawa? Yes, what is it? The detective fussed sheepishly with his hair and forced a smile. Sir, we'd appreciate it if you could remain in the living room as much as possible. Osawa is in no mood to stand on propriety. Look, I've got a ton of work to do, he said. Are you here to tell me to play the role of the grieving father? Wait, are you here to tell me to play the role of the grieving father too? No, not at all. Personally, I happen to think you're an admirable father, Mr. Osawa. Admirable. Did the word have a ring of sarcasm? He had no way to tell if Kajiwara was being forthright with him or not. You're no ordinary fellow, Mr. Osawa. You're a genius. A genius? Me? Osawa made a skeptical noise. Am I mistaken, sir? You've made very important strides in the field of virus research. Or, well, so I've been told. Osawa wasn't sure how to respond. He had never considered himself a genius. He was just someone who was more interested in viruses than he was in other people. Everyone who's a genius is also a little bit odd, after all, Kajiwara went on. Probably he'd intended that as a compliment, but still. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with weirdos, so long as they leave us ordinary folks alone, you know? Is this guy trying to praise me or insult me? Osawa let out a heavy sigh. Genius, weirdo, what did it even matter? So long as he could be left to his work, he didn't care one whit how he looked in other people's eyes. Kajiwara wiped the sweat off his forehead with a handkerchief. By the way, what are you working on right now? He asked. I'm afraid you wouldn't understand even if I explained it to you, Osawa replied. Right. Precisely. Even if I gave him my full attention, it would still be beyond me. He peered with sudden intensity at Osawa's face. I'd appreciate it if you didn't hide things from me, sir, he said. Osawa gaped, at a loss for words. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kajiwara added hurriedly. Goodness, that made it sound like I'm accusing you of something, didn't it? The detective bowed his head repeatedly. I hope you'll forgive me. He held out the banana. That won't be necessary. How about this then? This time he pulled a bar of chocolate from his pocket. No, thank you. Yeah, he is very, very... He's calling other people weirdos when he's acting like this. Pot, meat, kettle, something. Did this guy just carry an endless food supply wherever he wanted? Or wherever he went? Oh my, Kajiwara murmured. Murmured? Why can't I read words tonight? Holy fuck. You geniuses really are tough to sort out. He inclined his head, mumbling to himself for a moment. What can I get for you then, sir? What I'd really like is some time by myself. In a daze of exasperation, Osawa felt his way to his study. Locking the door, he finally let out the breath he'd been holding. Then his eyes alighted on the bookshelf against the wall. Aww. He pulled out a photo album and began to flip through it. There were pictures of his daughter's grade school enrollment ceremony. Their mother had already passed away from illness, so Osawa had taken the girls himself. He remembered that after the ceremony, Hitomi had come down with a fever. Hitomi had been rather sickly as a girl, falling bedridden at the drop of a hat. Maria, by contrast, had been lively and energetic, quite the handful. Osawa had found it remarkable that their personalities could be so different despite them being twins. He flipped further into the album. There was a picture of the three of them at their grade school graduation. Maria was looking away from the camera. Osawa felt like someone had stabbed a dagger in his heart. His daughters or virology? Which truly concerned him more? Which did he truly love? It was ridiculous to try to compare the two. He'd known the answer before he even asked himself. Even so, human emotions were complicated and sometimes made people act inconsistently. One of the consequences of that was this photo album. This was the last photo he had of Maria. He searched and searched through the rest of the album, but she was nowhere else to be found. Oh. What a heavy note to end on. Once she's dead, you'll understand. All right. Some weird things happening. Some crazy shit going down. More mysteries unfolding. And shit is going to continue getting crazy, I can tell. I will end it off here for tonight. And I'm loving this game so far. And I hope you all have been loving it too. And I hope to see you in the next episode. Take care, everybody, and I hope you all have a great night. Bye.